Izhar Shay was last in our studio here in I-24 News in his former role as an Israeli Minister of Science and Technology, but the tech entrepreneur has a new public mission now. His son Yaron was killed in battle against Hamas terrorists on October 7th while serving in an IDF combat unit on the Gaza border. And now Izhar, is helping lead an initiative that aims to honor the memory of all of the fallen and help Israel's economy in this difficult time by establishing a new startup for each and every one of those who lost their lives that terrible day. Izhar Shay, thank you for joining us and being with us again. First of all, tell us about your son and about what you know what happened unfolded to him on that day on October 7th.
So Yaron, that was his name. He was 21 years old at his falling at Kerem Shalom. Ironically enough, Kerem Shalom stands for the Vineyards of Peace. This is where his unit was stationed on the day of October 7th.
Right, the border crossing between Gaza and Israel.
The border crossing and the area beyond the border crossing. They were in charge of guarding the peace activities in between the two sides of the border. They were attacked by hundreds of terrorists in that section of the border on the morning of October 7th. Yaron's very small unit found itself confronting hundreds of terrorists who were trying to penetrate Kibbutz Kerem Shalom and to commit the horrific actions that they have committed in other kibbutzim in that area. But that unit stood very strong throughout the morning of October 7th. Yaron's battle specifically was about 3 soldiers in a jeep, Yaron and 2 other soldiers who faced dozens and dozens of terrorists on the entrance to Kibbutz Kerem Shalom. They stood strong for about 45 minutes and prevented those terrorists from coming in. And with their actions, they gave the kibbutz people the time to prepare, to get ready for that attack. And the end result is that the kibbutz has not been destroyed. None of the civilians in the kibbutz was affected except for 2 civilian heroes who were part of the emergency response unit of the kibbutz. But other than that, the kibbutz stayed intact, and hundreds of civilians' lives were saved. Yaron lost his life during that specific battle. He was killed in action after about an hour of fighting against those dozens or hundreds of terrorists. We know that those acts of terrorism are today highly appreciated by the members of the kibbutz. We received so many moving messages from people who actually told us, thank you very much for saving our lives. Your son saved the lives of many people on that day, including many visitors. It was a special holiday of Simchat Torah. You know, it is a terrible loss for us as a family. He was our youngest kid, was, as you may see from the pictures, beautiful from the outside and from the inside. And he stood there for his values, for our family values. And frankly, also because he was an American Israeli citizen, he stood there for the common values of freedom, of the right to live your life in this area or in any other area of the world, to live as a free citizen of the free world.
Right. Now, Izhar, as I mentioned, you have both a public role, you're a member of Knesset also, but also you are a tech entrepreneur, and you have chosen to deal with his loss by creating something positive out of it. Tell us about this initiative.
So we call this initiative Next October, with some notion of optimism. Next October will be better, and the one after it, and so on. And the idea is to have an innovative startup company commemorate each of the victims of this atrocious attack on Israel on October 7th. The victims are hero soldiers who fell while protecting their country, but there are also more than 1,000 civilians who lost their lives, babies, young women, the elderly, civilians who were attacked at their home while celebrating the holiday of Simchat Torah. Each one of those victims deserves to be commemorated, and this is what this initiative is going to do. So we are going to have 1,400 lamentably a little bit more now than 1,400 companies. Each one of them will endorse and commemorate one of those victims with all kinds of special tailor-made activities to follow the legacy of the family or the victim himself or herself. But then this will also serve to reignite the Israeli economy. This war is costing us about $1 billion shekels a day, and we are counting today 116 days and still going. So we need to reignite the economy. 1,400 innovative companies will create a lot of job opportunities, will create generate tax income and will contribute to our GDP. And this is also a national response. They came to destroy, they came to kill, murder, and torture. We are responding with products and services, 1,400 of them, which will make for a better world. This is the right response to those savages who came to attack and kill and destroy.
So you were a public servant, a public figure, a grieving father, but you're also a businessman, and 1,400 startups will need considerable investment. Where are you aiming, hoping that that investment will come for this initiative, which is certainly a worthy one, but there are the economics of it.
Thank you for raising this point, Caleb, which is a very good one. We are approaching the international community of international investors. As people may not know, most of the investments in the Israeli high-tech have always come from the outside, more than 90% of them. And so we are now having conversations with investors from outside of Israel. We launched this initiative in London last month, and we are going to Berlin and New York and other international hubs of innovation and finance. And we are delivering a strong message to the international community of investors. Israel is open for business. We are not seeking donations. We are encouraging investments in the innovative Israeli ecosystem. Traditionally, it has always produced very good returns to investors, and this is now the time to consider Israel as an investment target. I'm happy to report that based on so many conversations over the last few weeks, we see a growing level of interest. People understand that we are going to eventually take care of the geopolitical crisis. The war is not going to last forever, but the Israeli innovation will. And so we are now building the next generation of the high-tech ecosystem infrastructure in Israel, and it will create many opportunities for savvy international investors who will be investing here, will do the right thing in terms of funding companies that commemorate those victims, those innocent victims of atrocious attacks on humanity, not only on Israel, but along with doing the right thing, they will also provide the infrastructure for appropriate financial returns to investors around the world.
Right. Now, the tech sector in Israel, I should note, it's had a difficult past year. Prior to October 7th, there was a debate over the judicial reform, which raised concerns. Now, of course, the conflict in Gaza leads to, as you understand, some wariness maybe of some investments. And there's even the human cost. I think of so many of the people in the tech sector who have are personal grieving. I think of Eyal Waldman, your colleague, founder of
And friend, yes.
I'm sure also dealing with it. So let me ask you, in this environment, if the tech sector, which, as you mentioned before, it's always been the engine that drove Israel economy, even during, for example, the global financial crisis, if it's in condition to carry this forward in this really difficult period.
It always has been, and it will be this time as well. There is no other option for us but to build and rebuild and reignite the high-tech sector and the economy. And as you said, this is the story of Israeli resilience and optimism. We will not be deterred by people who came in to destroy, to kill, to eliminate everything we stand for as people, as the high-tech sector, as entrepreneurs. So we are here to respond, and we have started doing this already. I can report to Caleb that I've had conversations with countless entrepreneurs who are coming back from war, from Gaza. They are coming back with ideas. Some of them have already started to put together small teams.
I have to say, it's ironic, maybe that, I don't know if that's the right word for it, but a lot of Israel's tech innovation has, maybe you say unfortunately, come out of Israel's need to defend itself and out of conflicts.
So we understand technology that is rooted out of all kinds of military purposes, but the interesting point that I should emphasize now is that I've had conversations with dozens and dozens of new teams that have been put together over the last few weeks. Probably 99% of them are coming up with ideas that do not relate to military products or activities. They come up with ideas about precise agriculture, clean energy, financial solutions, and so on. And this is, I think, the beauty of the Israeli high-tech. We come from military roots, but we apply our knowledge towards creating better products for a better world. And again, this is the right response to those people who came to destroy, to eliminate, and to come after everything that we stand for here in this country.
Right. Izhar, you are no longer a politician. position, and you came here to discuss this initiative, I understand. But in a general way, I just want to ask you, as a public figure, someone who has been in that difficult position of having to be part of debates that are going on now at the highest levels in government about some of the difficult decisions, if you have a more general comment about how Israel is going to have to proceed to pull itself together and overcome this incredibly, maybe for many of us, the most challenging period in our lifetime here.
So it is a very challenging time in Israeli history. We first of all have to take the first priority in bringing the hostages home. There is no end to this military conflict without bringing our hostages home, and this should be the #1 priority of the Israeli government. The moral contract between the government and its citizens was broken on October 7th. The Israeli government, through its military operations, did not protect our people, our civilians, and the government has to bring them back home. There is no end to this conflict without that happening. After we end up with the geopolitical issues, we are probably going to eradicate Hamas. That will take a few years, but that will be taken care of. I'm not concerned. The main concern for all of us is to correct the political frictions, to become more united, and to re-establish a new leadership in the political system here in Israel. We need that badly. I do not hide my very significant criticism on our Prime Minister. I think that it is the time for him to submit his resignation sometime over the next few months, to let a new generation of politicians take over, reunite the Israeli society, and build up on this crisis a new and better Israel.
All right, Izhar Shay, I hope the next time in studio we can hear about some results, some exciting initiatives of this, of some of the startups that maybe you've done in memory of honors that have fallen, including your son, Yaron. May his memory be a blessing. Thank you for joining us.